Hi everyone. Very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our virtual talk on activities of daily living. And we'll also be featuring a company called Homage and Lily Tay, a care specialist from Homage, who will be um, kind of sharing her experience with us. You can see Lily, we'll pin her to the page later on. Yeah, but just a gentle reminder that this session will be recorded and we'll be keeping all participants' audio off. But along the way, if you have any questions, just feel free to type it in our chat, which you can find the button at the bottom of your screen. Just enter your chat there. If Lily has the time later, she'll go through the questions and bring out the relevant ones. Yep, and so that's just for the admin matters. Yep. So thank you so much for joining us today. Just a bit about the golden concepts that we are curating a range of quality elder care products to enable aging well. So our priority is always to maximize independence and mobility so that we can enjoy a good quality of life as we age. This has been one of the new initiatives that we have embarked on during starting even last year during the circuit breaker, because we wanted to create events and sharing of content to educate both caregivers and seniors about key matters relating to aging, because we believe that education is extremely important to understanding how we can age well together. So this is just the 2021 series that we have created, particularly about the topic of aging well. And we are bringing together experts in the field of elder care. Today we have Lily, who is a very experienced nurse. The next week we're going to have somebody who's going to do a yoga session for us. And after that, there's Parkinson's. There's a few other topics that hopefully you'll join us for. Yeah. So we are very excited to build a community of learning together with you guys. So thanks for showing up and do share with friends if you find it that was a useful event. Okay, just to introduce our guest speaker as well as the company that she's representing. Lily Tay is from Homage, which is an award-winning holistic healthcare service provider that serves thousands of families in Singapore. So they have over 3,000 fully trained local care professionals, such as Lily, and they provide a comprehensive range of healthcare services, including personal care, nursing services, rehab therapy, and medical care. And it's mostly, as their name suggests, done in the comfort and privacy of your home. So Lily Tay, today she's going to share with us a lot about her experience and her knowledge, but she's a care specialist at Homage, and she loves meeting new people, sharing tips with caregivers. She has been a nurse with over 30 years experience almost everywhere, I think, from hospitals, nursing homes, daycare, and home care. And she enjoys her journey of nursing, where she gets to meet people from all walks of life. So with home nursing close to her heart, she uses it as an avenue to reach out to as many people in the community as possible to increase awareness of caregiving. So we are very honored to have Lily with her years and years of rich experience today to share with us today about the topic of activities of daily living and home care for seniors. So without any further ado, Lily, I'll just pass it on to you.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Yes. Can hear me? Yeah? Okay. Thanks, Vern, for the introduction. I'm really flattered with this description about me. Anyway, I hope everyone is it's feeling good today. It's a sunny day, good weather, and we will make it short and sharp and with stories to tell later on. So we will start off with activities of daily living. We'll share the slides. So what is activities of daily living? Basically, we are going to, this talk is going to comprise of few sessions. Number one is activities of daily living. Then we talk about home care, followed by some stories and also financial assistance. Next slide. So Dr. Sydney Cass is the doctor who actually formalized these activities of daily living index that he created. It is basically used in healthcare to refer to a person's daily self-care activities. And also it indicates the functional status on the basic physical needs. So decrease in the functional status may result in poor quality of life. Yeah. So he conducted a study with 64 hip fracture patients when he created this index, which is currently being developed over time since his time. So these are the 6 activities that he came up with: generally bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring, continence, and feeding. And all these 6 points are being developed to score the ability to live independently. And the next page. The scores itself, as you can see, it ranges from 0 to 6. So it measures the level of functional assistance required. All right. The lower the point, the more dependent the care recipient is. So in this talk, I'm going to refer the elderly or the person who received care as care recipient, not patients. Yeah. So this is how in Homage we coin our care recipients. And generally, normal aging changes, as you can see the text below there, it changes, and health problems frequently will show declines in the functional status of an elderly. So his study ranged from most complex bathing activity to the least complex feeding activity. And following his index, there are many versions, such as Lawton IADL scale and also Bartle index, generally which is applicable to stroke patients. So next slide. So these are the 6 areas of basic activities of daily living. As you can see, showering, feeding, grooming, transfers, and so on. So for showering, in the blue box, as you can see, it basically tells us how we assess in which area, so that whoever assess the functional status will have a referral to it. And it is an indication of how they could help to rate it. So when showering, for example, it needs to wash the body in a bath, showering, or subcomponents like rinsing and drying. For feeding, you may need some help, and like you can see in the picture, there's one of our Homage care professionals who helps the elderly to prepare the meals before feeding her. And you have things like ranges from diet of choice, which can be chicken rice, or some of the elderly who are unable to take solid food, they are given milk feeds like Ensure and Glucina, according to their medical conditions. Next is also toileting. So toileting, basically we help the elderly on them to measure how is their balance during urination, how we could help them to adjust the clothing, and how to keep their private area clean for hygiene, and also how dependent they are when we want to help them to the toilet, or even some of them needs to use diapers instead of going to toilets. For mobility, we have various range of mobility. Some of them are quite independent, but some of them they just use stick, or they may even use rollator or wheelchair, as you can see. And this aids that you see in the slides actually comes from the Golden concept. They have quite unique functional aids which it can be considered for use in the elderly. So grooming, everyone wants to look the best, yeah? So no matter how old you are, everyone wants to look good. Just like Elizabeth Taylor, she's at that age, she still groom herself, put on makeup, dress up. And also, this is woman's dream. For men, they will love to look like George Clooney, I'm sure, yeah? So this is also part of our care when we do grooming for our care recipients. So for last one is transfers. For a lot of elderlies at certain age, when they have functional decline, they tend to require assistance in transfers. So whether it's sitting to standing, whether it's from the bed to the wheelchair, so we help them, and we also use various types of transfer methods depending on the weights, and the care professionals that we assign will ensure that they could manage the weight for the care recipients. So what impacts ability to execute this ADL independency? Basically, these are the predisposing factors, as you can see. Largely is aging, because when one's age, you have functional decline, you have cognitive decline, and we also have to look into the medication side effects. They also tend to fall, and after a chronic illness, they will tend to be more dependent. So thus they need help and assistance at home. So besides the basic ADL, we also have instrumental activities of daily living. In short, we call it IADL. So these are basically the activities that require complex thinking and organizational skills. And most of the people who require this, usually they have early stages of dementia. The components, as you can see in the blue box, these are the main components they have. Solely like a meal preparation. All the years they've been preparing food, for example, and once they have dementia, they forgot certain ingredient, they forgot to, even off the fire after cooking. Then they couldn't even manage communication. They keep on asking the same questions, like this kind of thing. So it is early signs, and this called the IADL, all right, activities. So it is not necessary for fundamental functioning, but it lets an individual live independently in the community. So this is where we come about to help them. And on the extreme right, as you can see, is a picture of the brain. So the brown one is the normal brain condition. But once a person has dementia, you can see some loss of tissues there. Yeah. So basically, our memory comes from our hippocampus area. So we have this protein called tau and beta amyloid that will kind of damage the brain cells, and this will impact on the memory. So once it happens, you look at the yellow box, you will start to see behavioral changes, loss of memory, forgetfulness, repetitive behaviors, and which ultimately affects the memory, and also they need stimulation to prevent further cognitive activities. That's how further cognitive decline. So that's how ADL help with caregivers, will stimulate and also slow down the cognitive decline. Okay. So in the brains, before that, I would like to talk more about the damage in the brain. So when the nerve cells, there is a lower or decreased chemical messenger, and there's also, with this decrease in messenger, there's a decreased traveling of the messages within the brain. So that's how you get reduced memory. Yeah. So looking at the charts here, to share more about the various ADL services, right, commonly required by our care recipients in Homage, as you can see in our slide here. Generally, the top 5 are the ones in red. Okay, staying active. So it is very reflective of the basic ADL that we covered earlier. So this is a show of how it actually reflects the need. Okay. So next, we also want to share the ADL versus other services offered at Homage. As you can see, even though we are a healthcare agency, a lot of people would think, oh, we need a lot of nursing care. But looking at the pie chart here, you see actually not everyone looks for nursing care for elderly. In fact, a large amount is on ADL. You can see more than 90% actually is they're asking for ADL services, so it's more prevalent in the sense generally. So for Homage customer landscape, so this is based on the MOH census. As you can see, Singapore's aging population grew 6.2% in 10 years. And in 2030, you can expect 1 in 4 population are elderly. Even the Home Nursing Foundation census numbers also saw more than 60% in alignment with Homage census. So an aging population brings about an increased demand for care. So that's how we find we need more caregivers, whether or not you're nurses, whether or not you're just a care professionals. So this chart mainly indicates that it does not matter whether the care recipient is ambulant or bedridden. So they still need care no matter what. Yeah. So a lot of people thought, oh, I can still walk. My mother can still walk. I don't need care. But there are always, as what I shared earlier, fall risk and a lot of other, cognitive decline or function decline. They need someone to be there for them, right? So remember, it does not mean you only call for help when the person becomes mobile, functionally dependent. All right. So it's time for a little quiz now. So what is the medical condition that requires caregiving at home?
Everyone's saying dementia.
So we wait for more response. A lot of you are choosing dementia. One more second, that's it. Right, as you can see, dementia is the highest rated, 52%. Let's see what we have at the top medical conditions. These are the top medical conditions in Homage. And you are right, dementia is the top medical condition. Bravo, well done. Yeah, so it's second, as you can see in the chart. Can I see? Yeah. The second case would be heart condition and followed by palliative care. So I would like to share a little bit about palliative care. A lot of them are still not familiar with palliative care. Basically, palliative care is a care of end of life that a lot of our care recipients would prefer to die at home, and also giving up space for the hospital for more acute cases. So to fulfill their wish, their last wish, a lot of them actually need care at home. And we always collaborate. As Homage, we collaborate with the hospice care team. They also have home care team. They will do the symptoms management, but Homage care professionals will do all the ADL care. So that's how we have a lot of palliative cases. Next. So next one we're going to talk about is home care. So I'm sure all of you know what is home care. Yeah, very simply put it, the delivery of care in the comfort of a person's home. So what does it involve? So basically, because they're sick and the person's recovery, and also they need some help, and some of them, the family are not available there. Some of them are stuck in the other country, especially in current instance with COVID-19. So they need us to help them to do check-in visits and also to accompany their loved ones to make sure they are safe, right? So these are the components. And why home care? Why is home care increasing now? Because one, the elderly usually they're very comfortable with their own space. They like familiarity. So home is nothing more than familiar environment for them. And considering financial considerations, they also prefer to be at home. It's more affordable, and family can always visit anytime, any day because it's their own home, and they can even invite their friends to come in. But in hospital, like currently in COVID, yeah, it's very full restriction. Even in nursing home, right, you have limited visitors for each patients. So home is always the place where they like to be, besides relieving the hospital of beds to create a space for more acute cases. Yeah. So these are the components of home care. We have various components, ADL, nursing, medical escort. For medical escort, basically we escort them to appointments because not all family members are available. Some of them needs to be at home, or they got urgent meeting, they got urgent appointment, they can't attend to their seniors. So we also provide medical escort services. And palliative is what I shared earlier, and we also do befriending and check-in visits. Yeah. So doing home care, first and most importantly, is being safe. Okay, safe home is the most important. Whether you're elderly, whether you have children, whether you're at home yourself, I always emphasize to our care recipients and clients that you have to make sure the house is very safe for everyone. So, namely, as you can see in the acronym, SAFE. Accessibility is also important to make sure that wherever the seniors want to move around, for example, in the house, it is accessible. So you make sure there is a clear pathway. Then they have to be very familiar, right? They like to place their things in certain areas. So they would get very agitated or angry when they couldn't find a place where they put, right? I'm sure you'll experience it. So it's always good to put things where they are comfortable with. And also anything that is emergency, for example, call bell. It's good to put a call bell, next to them. At home, you don't have call bell. What we use is usually the doorbell. I will always recommend them to put a doorbell next to them, their bed, or just hang over their walking aid where they can easily press for help. That's one way to do it. For home, so when you feel that the mobility status has declined, cognitively they need help, so go and seek help, and then orientate them properly. If you ever change the environmental or the places that you used to put, just remember to tell them where you put it. And maintain the cleanliness of the house is also important to make sure that there's no falls. For example, the toilet must be dry, there's no clutters, and passageway is clear. Make sure that there's no toys, the wires, the electrical wires are all being bound well, put in place. And we need be use a grabber for items that they cannot reach. So looking at the picture, you can see you must have sufficient lighting. Regularly place item, put it at the lower shelves for them so that they don't have to squat because of the knees issues. A lot of them has osteoporosis. So it's good that you make it accessible to them. Don't put too high because they will tend to use stools, not leather, or even some of them use leather, but because they are alone and they want things to be done fast, that's how they fall. Okay, no one to help them. And also furniture is very important. The choice of furniture for elderly. Seats must be at the knee height. That's the safest for them. Not too high, not too low. If you put too low, it will be very difficult for them to get up from it. Yeah? They need assistance. Sturdy furniture. Why sturdy furniture? People will ask me. It's because we make sure the seat can support them. And they can even use the seat, as a support as they walk along, right? Sometimes instead of the wall. So these are the measures that you can consider, right? And these are some of the gadgets that it is good to use for safety at home. And these pictures that you see are all from Golden Concept. And some of the items are very unique to Golden Concept, which I find it is important to highlight here. For example, the standard car handle plus. When I first saw it, I was thinking, wow, this is what my client has always been asking, how to come out from the car. So look at the video there. We show you how to do it. Just click onto the handle in the car, and then you press it on as a support, which is very helpful. And this is a swivel cushion, which to turn the senior out from the car, to transfer them out from the car into their wheelchair, or vice versa. Just watch the video. You see how happy she is. So easy. She doesn't need anybody to help. So these are certain gadgets which can be considered when you do use. So do call Golden Concept if you need any further. There is no, okay, at the end I will show you the website that you can visit, right? So beside safety consideration in the house, I always believe that we need to care a loved one with love. All they want from us is love. Especially if you're a family member, they want you to love them. Likewise, how they have loved you all these years. So generally, creating all this environment is important, but communication especially is important. I do visit home where I see families do not talk to each other. It's quite sad, yeah? So it's always good to communicate, constant update. Like, for example, you say, oh, hi, Mom, today is Tuesday. It's 1st of April, and the weather is getting gloomy today, something like that. So it makes them be alert of the day and time, which is very good, all right? Caring for each other, show your care by sharing light moments and distress them. If you find that your caregiver is stressed, you should also help. Not just looking at your loved one who needs help, but it's also important to see the one who is giving help. Basically, your siblings or yourself, or even your helper who are delivering care. So if you give them good care, they will deliver good care and they'll be very happy. So vice versa, it's a domino effect. So they will also deliver care with love. Yeah, you can also be resourceful by getting friends, networking, and get volunteers in, or you can approach your CC, or we have these residence network committees that you can approach, and they can actually garner some help from you to see your elderly. Yeah. So there are a lot of this community care around, and knowing your loved one is important. You must know them by their medical condition and what are their plans of treatment by the doctors. It's good to also follow them to see the doctor at times for medical appointment to understand what the doctor planned for her. Yeah. So I do come across a lot of siblings or family members who say, oh, I don't know anything about my father. Everything he keeps. So it's quite sad when you see that. So it's good to get to know them so that they know that you also care for them. This is also the way you show it. Sharing your burden of caregiving is also important. Yeah, you involve other family members, not just getting helpers or getting caregivers, but if you can, you gather your family members and then you get to know their preference or expertise. And then you roster them or understanding their role. And then you get a rotation. This is also helping each other to relieve the caregiving stress and to understand each other's help. Lastly, I would like you to also look at the respect. Respect your loved ones is important, it's good to involve them in care plans. Yeah. What's their preference and decide together, not you deciding for them. So it's good to involve them in any decision making where care for them is concerned. So let me share with you a story that I love to share stories, and I believe that stories just lingers on. And these stories that I'm sharing with you is always in my mind all the time, and I use it as something to also remind myself. So I would like to share with you about a story on Madam Satu. This is my first story, yeah, and it's a caring experience I witnessed during my home visit. So Madam Satu is 80 years old. She has stroke and diabetes. She has 3 kids, and she has a daughter who stays with her. Her daughter is Ika. Okay, so the Ika is very, very caring towards her. She has 3 children, right? So one son, the elder son, will visit almost every day. But he doesn't take care of her. He only comes in, read newspaper, take lunch that the Ika cooks, and then he leaves without even having any conversation with Madam Satu or Ika. And the Madam Satu herself, she's very alert. She is not communicative though, but she is able to give certain noises, something like that. You know that she's able to understand. She's monosyllable in a sense, very, very little communication. She's wheelchair bound. And what happened was Yika's niece engaged our service from Homage, seeing that the auntie Yika is very stressed, so she wants some relief and respite care for her, to do some showering, diaper change, and oral feeding. And she also has a little wound at the backside. We call it a big sore. So what we observed during the home visit is Madam Satu was having lunch, and then Ika was very focused, feeding her, nothing else important to her. She just pay attention to the mother. The brother just quietly come, arrive, and then take newspaper, sit in the hall, ignoring them. Ika quietly later on told me about how helpful the brother has been. So what happened during the care visit? I observed that Ika has not taken lunch. Yeah, it was lunchtime. It is 12 o'clock, as you can see in the clock. So it is lunchtime, and she looks very tired and lethargy, and she was quite grumpy because you can see that she is overworked. So I advised her to hand over the feeding to me and told her to have a good shower to freshen up and feel good. Then have lunch while I shower. And I have lunch. No, okay, sorry. So she have lunch. Asked her to have lunch while I will shower Satu and change diaper and do the dressing. So after she went to have a lunch, a shower, she came back, and I was with the mother at the bedside. She shared that this was the first time, which is very rare for her to have a proper bath, and it helped her to feel alive again after 5 years. She's been looking after Madam Sato, her mother, for 5 years, and she said, "Wow, Lily, I never had a proper bath, and this is the first time I take lunch at 12 o'clock." So it was very touching, and I felt very sorry for her. But yet I'm very happy that day that she managed to feel herself again. And she told me, "I wish I could do this more often." So she is still engaging our service right to now, and she's happier, and I think that is important. So what is caregiving? You look at sorry about the slides. Can you see the slide? Can. Okay. So what is caregiver? Caregiver is an individual who bears the responsibility of taking care of someone who needs help. Yeah, either they are frail or they have disability due to a medical condition or just aging, right? Okay. So one of the ways to provide support for our care recipients, as you can see, and also the caregiver, as I mentioned earlier, is to get external support. Okay. So it can be from Homage. We provide holistic home care services, like, as you can see, personal care, nursing care, therapy, which is like physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, medical care. So we also provide ambulance service, okay, transportation to transport them to medical appointments or anywhere they want to go. Next. So this is okay, about Homage. Homage is care where you are, enabling wellness and recovery through holistic personalized care. This is our motto. Yeah. And we are also a tech-enabled care organization where we use app. So it's usually mobile app. So everything is through your mobile. And at the end of the visits, we will even have a report that the care owner can see, and it's very fast update for them. Immediately after the visit, they will get the report within an hour, right? So it is also a communicative tool for them to use. So they can even give us feedback. They even rate our service. And that's what we do with how we give care. So it's very prompt. They can even request for care through the app itself. Yeah. So for Homage services, we will always emphasize to have a care assessment, which is very helpful for the care recipients and the family to know what is the personalized care plan for them. So what is care assessment? Basically, it's a first step in your care journey at Homage. So we'll conduct the assessment by a care specialist like myself, and we will do all the physical assessment, medical history, as you can see in the list below, including dietary, and also we will talk about care plan at the end of our visit. So to give you an example, let me share with you another story of Mr. Renda. Okay, so this is my second story, Mr. Renda and Liang Ke. So Mr. Renda is a 93-year-old. He's alert, communicative, he wears dentures, he speaks Hokkien only, and he has enlarged prostate. He also have left hip fracture, multiple falls, drug allergy, as you can see. The long list there. I don't think I need to read because later I will summarize for you. And he also has the disability where he moves with full assistance, wheelchair bound. He can only walk 1 to 2 steps. So his home, there are also uneven surfaces like curbs, steps in the toilet or in the doorway to the kitchen. So wheelchair cannot enter the toilet. No, toilet is very important. They will usually go into shower at the same time. And in the house, I noticed there's also CCTV every corner. The floor is very dusty because he lives alone, right? And then he has a son who visits occasionally and a daughter who never visits. But the son has, through the observation, the son scolds him at every sentence. He doesn't talk nicely to the father. Everything he say, he will scold. No, the tone of voice is very harsh. He does not allow him to talk. Okay, he claimed that he knows nothing. Then meal delivery was also arranged for him. The meal will be placed at the door, and the concern that he called upon our service is the father is always forgetting to eat his medication. So that is his main concern where the son is. Okay. So the issues, as you can see in the blue box, he has hard of hearing, fracture, unsteady gait, stays alone, wheelchair bound, curbs, mobility, speaks only Hokkien, and dentures, and incontinence is a loner. Okay. Next one. So I put these issues in a table, as you can see. These are the issues with concern plus the care plan. So basically, for example, as you can see, number 1, if he has hard of hearing, for example, we will make sure that the care professional assigned to him will know that he needs to be spoken to louder. Okay, or we can offer a hearing aid, because some hearing aid cannot work well, so you need to also help him to adjust sometimes. Yeah. Then fracture, there is be a fall precautions involved. Then he tends to forget his medicine, so you make sure that we check his medicine through the pill box. All right. And he also have indwelling catheter. That means he has a catheter in place that we must know how to take care to prevent any infection. So beside all those, there's also this list. He also has poor family support, as you can see the whole background. He also has drug allergy, CCTV delivery. So what are the care plan that we have? So we will plan that, okay, for every issue that he has, the concerns, right? And then we will make sure what we should do during the care visits by our care professional. So for example, I give you one example. For example, meal delivery. If you know there's a meal delivery, it will be under a meal preparation. So we need to bring the meal into the house from the door, warm up for him before we serve him. And sometimes when the meal does not arrive, or on the days that he doesn't get a meal, we need to go down to buy pack meal for him. So these are the certain care plans that we have. So generally, this is how we look at the cases and we assess. So Mr. Renda will be the care recipient, all right? And then his son is the Liangke. Okay, the Liangke is his son, so he will be at the side. He doesn't really take care of the father. So he depends on us to come in to care for him. So what are the care services that he requires you? So we have care services, we have care aids, which are the equipments, and then we talk about the care, what the type of care professionals that you need. For example, what gender does he prefers? This way we respect his preference. Then we will ask about the race preference, any religion preference, any special requests, any special instructions to be given to our care professional. When it comes to the care services, we already, as I discussed earlier, that's where we are going to give it to him. Whether or not he wants it, he will let us know. And then we will schedule a care visit for him. So a lot of time the care schedule will be decided by the care owner, which is the son, who is Liangke. Okay, so Liangke will tell us whether it is every Tuesday or whether it's weekly or whether it's daily, and the duration of care that he requires. Okay, so moving on. So we are also wanting to highlight to you that for financial aids or subsidies, there are many where Singapore's the government is also helping a lot. Yeah. So Homage is basically a private home care provider, but there are eligible government grants to offset some of the caregiving costs that you can apply. So this includes the PG packages and also the home caregiving grant. Yeah. So this is the example of the Pioneer Generation Package if you wish to refer. So like outpatient, you got 50% off. If you want more information, please visit the website, which is down there. Okay, you can see the website. Okay. So we also have home caregiving grant, basically $200 monthly cash payout that will extend beyond hiring a foreign domestic helper. So any further information, please visit the home caregiving website on how to apply. So my take-home message to all of you today is health is wealth. It's very generic, right? We are what we eat. So important that, we must eat healthily, right? And then care for your loved one the way you want to be cared for. So always put yourself in the shoe of your loved one. How would you like to be cared for when you have reached the age? And then you only live once. So that's important. So I want to live with you with an art. It's about the stages of life, followed by a song, which will which is by Carole King. And so that when you're down in your trouble, all you've got to do is to call. You can always call Homage for caregiving. You can call Golden Concept for any aids that you require. So please enjoy. Is the music not in? Can you hear the music?
No, we can't hear.
Sorry about that. Just watch the art.
Yeah, watch the art, and not to worry, because Lily and Homage have kindly agreed to share the presentation that she has done. So we'll share with you in a post-talk email. So
The most important later on is the song that I want you to take home with, and I hope the audio will work later. But this is basically about how one ages, and how we should appreciate every stage of our life, and how we should take care of ourselves. I think it's very important. You see, we were a baby, and then we became toddler, adolescents, young adult, and how we age. And once you have a family, it's good to get to know your loved one very well, and what are their likes and dislikes at different stages of life, and to cherish every moment, every second of our life. I basically love this because I love art. I can stare at art for hours, and I feel I want to share this with the audience because I feel that it's also an awakening for us to really appreciate who we are, and what we could do with our life as we grow, as we age. Our likes and dislikes, our behavior changes, and how we should appreciate each other. So unfortunately, the music doesn't work, but actually the music is very interesting, very soothing. I'm sorry about that. So this is coming to 60 already. See how we have aged, right? And we do a lot of thinking. Look at how she places her hands. It's very meaningful when this art is concerned. Every phase of life, you have different thoughts. And then we start to gray. It's about 80, 90. Yeah. Right. So I hope you enjoyed that art piece. And now we go on to the song, which was sang by Carole King, Shania Twain, Gloria Estefan, and Celine Dion. So please enjoy. Just the message in the song is important.
Can they hear?
Can you hear?
Yeah. Why don't you play from YouTube? Yeah, I can Google it. No, just click your YouTube. 1 second, we'll go to YouTube.
Just 1 second, okay? We go to YouTube for you. So this song, the title is You've Got a Friend.
We're gonna try. We're gonna try to see if we can play it from our side.
Okay, I hope you all enjoy the song, and I hope the message has been put across through the song, that you can always, call us for any help that you require, or even Golden Concept for any equipment, and any help that you need, whether it's Homage, whether it's other agency, there's always just a call away. Yeah. So there's a lot of helpers who are willing to help, no matter how small or how big it is. So just hope that y'all will be more aware that there are always help around, whether you're a caregiver, whether you are a care recipient yourself. So thank you very much. Is there any thing that you need to ask questions? I think now is a question and answer sessions.
Yeah. Thanks, Lily, for the very insightful sharing. And not just did you touch on the activities of daily living and home care, but you also give a lot of life lessons and seem to have a wonderful taste in music because I'm also a big Carole King fan. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, feel free. I mean, don't feel pressured that you have to think of it now. I actually have a question for Lily. Um, I'm wondering if for people who are in like seeking your services, right? What happens if the elderly person is quite resistant to having somebody like an outsider come in and help them? What would you recommend?
Yeah, it's a very good question. It happens quite often, because a lot of elderly, they are very obstinate and they do not want to change and they only want familiar faces. So we do have come across such cases, and what we do is we ask the family to wait until she is comfortable, and what they can do is they start our service at very minimal time, for example 1 hour, or slowly increased as the need goes, as she begins to open herself to outsiders, to help outside, then we will slowly increase. And remember, we talk about care assessment. So when we talk about assessment, we talk about care plans. We talk about the preference of a care professional. So that all this will come in place. So if you know that, for example, Mr. Render, he speaks Hokkien. So you make sure that you get someone who can speak Hokkien, and then he will feel more comfortable. Yeah. Or example, they like uh, some clients may say, I'm a male, I prefer a male, so that a male can talk about male things like soccer, and all those male things. So why not? But some of them, it all depends. So that's why when you do care assessment, right, as a care specialist, we will always advise them accordingly. We also give them certain options, certain choices for them to think through. Sometimes they didn't know that there is such option, or they can do such thing. For example, I'll say, why don't you don't just stick to male, for example. Be open with gender, because female comes to him, you got female touch, they always believe female are gentler, more caring, more loving, and they like young girls. They see, wow, younger, they also feel good. And sometimes male, and then certain days when it comes to male, they say, okay, male talk about man things, okay. Okay, talk about soccer, talk about whatever football, whatever games they used to do, or talk about hard things that the guys go through. We all don't know. Huh? Anyway, so this is how we advise them. So let the family discuss and start small until the care recipient is very comfortable. And the good thing about Homage is we may not be able to give you just one, all right, because they're all freelancers. So we may give you over a period of 2 weeks, for example, we will give you about four different care programs. And they are given the liberty to even choose. For example, they find the first and the third care professionals are more capable of having a good talk, and good talk with the seniors, and the seniors is very comfortable and enjoy the sessions with the person. So they could even request that they can have this CPs or care professionals more often than the others. So we can arrange. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, really, that's a really great answer. It also showcases really the versatility of the services that you all provide at Homage. I think in terms of the range, it's not just like you said, needing help for very major things, but it could be something small as well. Maybe even 1 hour of respite care for the caregiver, like the story that you mentioned. Yeah, so I think that's really a wonderful sharing. So on behalf of everyone here, I don't want to hold you guys too long, but on behalf of everyone here, I really want to thank Lily for taking the time, to share with us all your expertise and knowledge on this topic.